Generally speaking, when we talk about ethnic groups, we like to group them all together, particularly when we talk about the electorate. But there are some variations within the Asian American community when it pertains to guns. Could you talk a little bit about that?
That was one thing that really fascinated me when I was reporting this piece for print and for TV. Filipino Americans, for instance, their homeland, the Philippines, is a country where guns are less regulated and where guns are more widely used. So Filipino Americans have more familiarity with guns, and that carries over to the US, and they're more likely to use a gun for sport, for hunting, for different purposes. That compares to Korean American, where I come from. Even though guns are used in Korea as part of a compulsory military service for men, it's really highly regulated. No Korean male, other than those in the military, really have a gun. So that carries over to the US, even though you may remember the rooftop Korean, that was more for business owners who were trained in using a gun, but who are not using a gun in their everyday life.
You're talking about the 92 LA riots.
Yes.
Yeah, and those people were trying to defend their stores, and we saw those pictures, and it gave us sort of a distorted view of what the gun population might be within that community.
Right.
You spent a lot of time at that gun range and the gun store talking to people. Tell us what was motivating them to buy guns. Was it the recent spate of shootings, or was it anti-Asian hate that we saw rise? Was it fear?
It was a lot of different factors. I think the gun store owner that we talked to basically said that everyone who wanted to get a gun had already bought a gun. So the recent mass shootings in Monterey Park and Half Moon Bay were not as much of a factor when it comes to driving the first-time gun purchases. However, anti-Asian hate that has been going on for the last couple of years of the pandemic, as well as the general feeling of feeling unsafe in different cities across California and the country, have contributed to this rise in gun ownership among Asian Americans.